Hey, what's up, guys? Some thoughts for the day. Let's talk a little bit about what motivates us to do what we're doing and all the different levels of difficulties that we have to go through when we're trying to overcome challenges. So, for example, you may be tired in the morning, you didn't sleep well, but you still wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work by 8 a.m. because the consequences of you not getting there are greater than the pain of the repercussions of not getting to work on time are greater than the pain that you're experiencing from being tired, right? But if you had a situation where you came down, with a really heavy flu, and it's just almost impossible to get out of bed, then you're thinking, I can call into work, and there could be some repercussions of not coming, but at the same time, your health is in jeopardy. And so it's always this seesaw of how much pain do you have to endure on one side versus the other. And what is the motivation? What is the reward? What's the pleasure? What's the result of enduring the pain? So I've experienced this a lot in my body transformation journey, and studying a lot about this and reading a lot of stories about when people have quit. I remember there was this one story, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was a MVP winner in the NFL, like this, the top of the top. And I was listening to a little interview about him and how he trained and why he was the best. And I believe he was from Mississippi, and near his house there was a very, very steep dirt hill, extremely steep. In his story, he illustrated that if he were to run up the hill and stop in the middle of the hill, he would start to slide back. That's how steep it was. So he had to just keep running as fast as possible. And it was a relatively long distance, where by the time that he got to the top of that hill, his quads and his legs, they were just on fire. And people that are not in incredible shape, they wouldn't even be able to make it up the hill at all. They wouldn't have enough speed and momentum and endurance to be able to make it up. So he's an incredibly elite athlete. And so he would train on that hill daily for long periods of time, up and down and up and down and up and down. And he said that when he got out to the field, where he was going to play football, running around the flat field just felt like nothing. It felt like he was just floating through the air. And people would often describe him as floating. Just that speed and that power and that endurance and that strength. They were so much higher than everyone else because of the way that he trained. Right? So he was willing to go through a huge amount of pain physically. And his mind is telling him, stop. It's too much. But he pushed through that, and then he was able to achieve incredible results. So some people, they have such a strong desire, and they get so much pleasure from being number one or getting the adoration of their peers or other people. So think about your values and what you value the most, and then think about the amount of pain that it's going to take to be able to achieve whatever you value the most. Like in my own life and business, what I notice is that there comes a point where I'm successful enough to be able to accomplish what I value most in my life on a daily basis. Having some free time with the family, having some free time to work out, having some free time to meditate, being able to get enough rest, just being able to have a schedule throughout the day that I'm quite content with. And so the business facilitates the finances to be able to do this. As soon as the business starts doing poorly for whatever reason, and I'm not able to continue with the schedule that I really, really value the most, then I work harder to make the business work so I can get to that sweet spot that I really like. But for some people, they push on beyond that because they don't have the same values. They don't simply value having a schedule with the freedom that I just described. They're valuing things like, some people, it's just simply numbers in the bank account. They feel really good when they see really big numbers in the bank account. Or they have material acquisitions that are top level. And they really admire themselves for being able to be able to achieve these items. Other people, they're out there, they're speaking in front of large groups of people, and people are, telling them that you're the greatest and you've helped me so much, and they get so much from that they're willing to work long, hard hours and solve really complicated problems in their business to be able to take it to the next level. And it's all motivated because the result of that is something that they value so highly. So I'm often thinking about these values, what's most valuable. I mean, when you think about things that are valuable in life, like monetarily, it's like diamonds are valuable because they're scarce and they're extremely beautiful. And so, it takes so many millions of years for these carbon structures to be crushed by these huge pressures underneath mountains that eventually the diamond appears. And it takes a huge amount of money and energy in order to extract those. And so, when they're sold on the open market, there's not that many, and they're very beautiful, and so they sell for a lot. Whereas sand, it's just readily available and it's not that beautiful, and so it doesn't sell, for anything. And so that's what we're talking about as far as values. What is the most important thing to you? And then are you willing to go through the pain that it takes to achieve that? Now, some people might ask, well, how can I increase my desire? Or how can I increase my pain threshold? Or how can I change my values? And you absolutely can. So like, for instance, in physical fitness, if you value being in good shape and you would like to value being in even better shape, more muscle, less body fat, higher performance, whatever it might be, but you have like this set point, like a thermostat, where, say, the thermostat is set to 72 and the temperature raises up to like 75, then the air conditioner is going to kick on. But if you have a set point of 68 and the temperature is 75, yes, it will kick on. But if the temperature outside is 72, it'll also kick on. Whereas if the set point was higher, it would not kick on. So some people, they're going to the gym and they're highly motivated to work out hard because they're at 15% body fat and they want 10% body fat. Or they have 170 pounds of lean muscle tissue and they want 180. So that's the set point that they're going for. And then once they get to that, then they're not going to be such a beast in the gym because they achieved the level that makes them content, that makes them admire where they're at, that makes them appreciate the work that they got to, and they don't need to take it to the next level. There's all different levels. Some people have a lot of extra weight, and they simply, if they lose 10 pounds, then they're happy, and then they're going to be back on cruise control. Other people want to win an Olympic gold medal, or they want to become a professional bodybuilder, or they want to become a UFC champion. They have such high standards of what will fulfill them, but what they value, that they're willing to put in countless hours in the gym 7 days a week, follow very particular diets and lifestyle choices that take away from so many other things in their life. It might take away from their friendships. It might take away from time with their spouse and their children. It might take away from, time trying to make money in business, having leisure time, different types of freedoms. But those are on a lower value hierarchy. And so they don't, they're lower down on the ladder, so that you may get some of these pleasures. There may be some time and energy allocated to these, but they're not going to be nearly as high as the highest value ones. So think about what you really value the most, and then work on developing to change your set point. So back to the gym. You're used to bench pressing 180 pounds for 10 reps. But you'd like to get to the point where you can bench press 225 pounds for 10 reps. So slowly build your strength by adding weight progressively over time. And as you engage in these different activities that test you, that push you, then your threshold for pain will increase. Your mind and your body will develop into the person that you want to be. You practice this. You just practice this regularly. You have to act upon this, and you have to be thinking about this. So what I usually do is I study people that are great in the fields that I like. I try to apply what they do. I try to think about what they're doing and then act upon it. And I just have this cycle of study, think, act.